There we are. Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to Nashtalk. Now, this is a special Nashtalk because, first off, it's Tuesday. It's in the middle of the afternoon. What is it? 3:11 Eastern Standard Time. And this handsome man next to me right here, I mean, I've got so many different things I could talk to him about. Now, first off, this is, let me introduce you. This is the sheriff of Flint, Michigan, Sheriff Chris Swanson.
Right on. What's up, everybody?
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
My
my man.
Yeah.
Now, we also have a personal history together. We go back quite a while.
Yeah.
When did we first meet? I mean,
like more than a decade ago.
Yeah, it was like 2009
Yes.
and things like that, because I was just joining the fire department down
That's
in
right.
Troy.
Yeah.
And you were with the Flint Police Department.
Well, Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff's
I've been here
Office.
since I was 18.
Since you were 18.
That's right.
So 5 years.
Yeah, right on.
Right. So wait, let me switch it over to comments here. Let's see. Okay, so people are they're going to start watching. All right, and so as we're doing this live, I just want everyone to know we are going to be sharing this, and we are doing this live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll add it to LinkedIn and Twitch and everything else after, and you can share it as well. So nobody's going to miss out on anything, and you can ask questions later. We're also going to add some information.
That's right.
Now, this is what I have for you really quick before we get in further. I don't know if that's good right there. Is that how to get a hold of you on, or just to follow?
Well, that's
you?
my own personal Instagram, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, do you want me to get rid of that?
No, man, that's good. That's good. There's a million ways to get a hold of Swanson.
That's what we're
try to find a pigeon, tie a note to its right foot, send him to Flint. Call 911, say I want to talk to Swanson.
Swanson, yeah, that's how we call him, because we're both Chris and Chris, by the way,
Yes.
And he's like my baby brother here,
Most people honestly just call me Swanson my whole life. It's crazy.
I know that. He used to call me, "It's Swanson."
Yeah, look right there, even on my nameplate, just says Swanson. That's it.
I'm watching this show called Reacher. And he's actually a major.
Yeah.
And he goes, Reacher.
It's Swanson.
But this is the real deal, because this is no CGI. There's no stuntman. This is you.
Man.
This is what we're going to talk about, because he's extending a little bit of time on it, so I'm going to talk fast. We both talk fast, by the way. So don't adjust your sets, all right? But anyway, I'll look at Mr. Positive from Detroit Radio National. Hey, hello, Michelle Burmeister. I know.
What up, Michelle?
So there's people out there that are going to be watching this, and so let's start. I'll tell you what. Let's do this in a chronological order. Okay, I know we met a long time ago, but let's talk about you. When did you started when you're 18 here in the Sheriff's Department of Flint?
Right. My dad and my grandpa were both Detroit cops, and I grew up in that area.
Mm-hmm.
I was the youngest of four, so I always heard police stories.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated at a young age, I was in an internship program, and it's one of the local community colleges, and it brought me here to this office. I applied at 18 to work a seasonal Marine Division job, so that was a year-round gig. And then I became a licensed medic when I was 20, because I saw a guy shoot himself in his head, and they didn't teach that in high school.
No, of course
so
not.
I learned how to get involved, and I'm still a licensed paramedic now. But when I came into the office with a 2-year degree at 20 years old with 2 years on and a paramedic license, I immediately got picked up June 2nd, 1993. So I'm in my 31st year, and I became a cop when I was 21, and I'm the only sheriff since 1836 to come from deputy to sheriff. First one.
I didn't even know.
First one.
I didn't even know.
That's it.
Why, my man?
Yeah, man. That's it.
We're going to be doing this a lot
Which
today.
is deputy, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, undersheriff, sheriff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that. We're going to keep going back and forth with that, because it intertwines with what you do. I've even seen him minister at church. In fact, I just passed by the church on the way here on Newport Road.
Yeah.
But you did it over at the road. Oh, you did both. You did all over.
Yeah, man. I go where people need me.
So, and then he's also a motivational speaker. He's also an Iron Man. Now I'm just going random here, so you can jump in and set it straight to the audience.
5-time Iron Man.
So how'd you do? You did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you finished, man. It's survival. It's just my last one in September 2023. So
okay, because there's some people that might not know what an Ironman is.
140.6 miles total, 2.4 mile swim, 112 on a bike, and then a marathon, 26.2. And it changed my life forever. My first one was in 2007.
There you go.
What up?
Yeah. I know Keith, he's a firefighter down in
Thanks for your service, brother.
So people are, people are going to be really interested, because, if somebody was to ask me, why am I interviewing the sheriff? I know a sheriff. Is it because there's songs on cops out there? Like, I should play that one. But what was the other one? I fought the law and the law won.
Yeah,
Not that many. But I know him from a lot of different facets. I mean, he's also a motivational speaker. He's spoken in front of large high schools
Right.
and different places. You even have books out.
Yeah, Fortune 500 companies. I mean, my gift is I love to communicate, love to relate, connect. I love to speak truth, hope, inspiration.
That's right. He does, and he does walk his talk. That's another thing. I mean, I've been to your home. My son's even been to your home.
Yeah, bless his heart, man.
Yeah. In fact, I just stopped by the marker right on
Wow.
Dixie. I did more stuff to it,
Beautiful.
and he was the first one I called. You were the first one I called when the state troopers showed up.
Gosh.
And the first one I called was you.
Yeah. That's how tight we are.
Yeah, it was crazy. But so I was only 10 miles away. But anyway, getting back to you and the Ironman and the motivational thing, because I know that you've helped a lot of people over the last umpteen years, as long as I've known you. I know you're, like I said, you've also belonged to the same church that I belong to, and you've even preached a bunch of times. So he's very versed in that. You're a man of many hats. And let's see, you have a couple programs out since 2019, right? Now explain those to us. I know there's Ghost. These are acronyms, by the way.
Right.
And then there's Ignite.
Right.
Explain those to us.
Well, Ghost, I mean, it's really just human trafficking enforcement. And there's nobody in the state that's doing as much as we're doing, fighting against human trafficking by the enforcement side. We do operations. And I came up with that because of international experience that I had in Haiti and Mexico in 2016 and 17. Mm-hmm. And when I was in Haiti in 17 doing an operation, I was playing an undercover role, and we were finding these females that were brought in from Europe over to the Dominican, promised to work in 5-star resorts, but it was all a lie. They got to the Dominican, they took their passports, they shipped them over across the border into Haiti, and they're being trafficked 24/7, 7 days a week, no holidays, no weekends, no days off. So I went there, and on this team that I was with, they used undercover officers, SEAL team members, Delta team members, and we were going there as undercover business owners. I was the assistant to the CEO, and I was going there to do my legwork to bring the boss over in order to order up kids. And so this whole undercover operation with the feds that were over in Haiti, the second day of operation, I even have a video. I have it archived where I'm about to go down, and I'm going to think, I said, I'm taking this back to my home state, because if it's happening here, it's happening there. And in May of 2018, we launched our first rescue. And then right after that, we did our first operation where we solicit, all legal. We have no entrapments. We have no nothing. We solicit people that are looking out there in the deep web, the dark web, the evil web that most people don't even tap into, but evil does, right, to find people that want to buy kids for sex. And so that was 2018. We have now branded that as the enforcement agency of not only just Michigan, because I've worked in 75% of the counties of the state, but also 7 states around the nation. Ghost, Genesis Human Oppression Strike Team, is the Batman of human traffic enforcement. We've never lost a case. We've got over 200 predators we've arrested. We've never lost a confession. We've never lost a motion. We've never lost a bind over, never lost a trial since 2018
Wow. You hear it?
Bam.
Bam. Once again.
Bam.
Once you go bam, the Batman, bam,
right.
yeah, whatever, how that goes. Wow. And now, that in itself. Now, I remember when you were posting that, there was people that were following me at the time because of what I was going through that followed you at the same time and began following you. Yeah. And they were like, in fact, probably more than I was, because I was so involved with things. But look at Bravo, Sheriff. Look at, here you go. Excellent work. Yeah. Thank you for your service. I love this stuff. I'll even put those comments up there for people to see. Yeah, there you go.
You mentioned about Ignite, though. Ignite is something that came on the heels of George Floyd's murder, where you and I connected again the day after we decided to march in a different way than just clash. So May 30th, 2020, and it was just 6 days after George Floyd was murdered by somebody who looked like me, that wore a uniform like me in broad daylight. And in Flint, we were expected to burn. It's a city that is it's a tough city. And,
it is a tough city.
It's poverty stricken. It's got a lot of crime. We just came over a water crisis, and I was deep into all of that. And, coming from 2 generations of DPD, Detroit Police, my dad and my grandpa were both in riots. My grandpa's in 45 riots. My dad was in the 1967 riots. So I grew up thinking, hey, it's my time to clash. I'm the sheriff. Let's prepare. Yeah. The day before our protest was scheduled, they burned big cities around the nation, May 29th, 2020. So we expected the same thing. Long story short, you can go back and watch a TED Talk that I did, TEDx in Detroit, and I explain that. So you can Google, and I encourage you to do it, because it really does show not what I did, but what we did as a community. And maybe you can throw that link in there later, but it's
I
a
will.
TEDx talk, Sheriff Chris Swanson, Let's Walk. But what we chose was a different path instead of clashing. And even though we were outnumbered significantly, what I found was people that were just mother effing us and wanted us dead were also begging for hope and begging for a different outcome. And so when we turned the crowd and we started walking back, I made a declaration hanging on a light pole in the Target parking lot. I said, I can't do everything. I'm certainly not going to do nothing, but I'm going to do my part to do what I can to turn this whole thing around. And that was one of 40 protests that we had that summer. And you were on the number 2. In fact, I have you on the book cover. You're filming it. You have your fire hoodie on. Mm-hmm. But we had another massive crowd. Remember, it was right off of 69 and Saginaw Street.
I remember well.
It was packed, man. And people were just, there was still a lot of what I call righteous anger, but I'm giving them hot dogs and bottles of water. They're like, they have like F the police all over their car. I'm like, hey, everybody, like F you. And I'm like, hey, would you like 2 hot dogs or 1? Just kind of break it down.
I was there.
Yeah.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
I just got to interject because when you called me, we texted each other, and he goes, and this was only a few months after I lost my son, and it was a hot day. Yeah. It was a very hot day, and Flint was ranked, I think, 3rd in the nation as the most dangerous city in America. That's what I saw, and people were calling me, my family was calling me, and all this, and they said, and I said I was going up to be with him. Everybody, the whole way, because it's like an hour drive. Yeah. I go, they're going, don't go, stop, turn around, And I got out of my car. You weren't there yet. Yeah. And I was in front of the station, and he's exactly right. There was people, gangbangers in front of them, their, custom SUVs, and people were walking up, and they looked at me, and they go, are you famous? Because I don't know why they did. And I said, no. And they said, why are you here? And I said, my friend. And all of a sudden, and it was, I was outnumbered like 1,000 to 1 easily, but I didn't care. I'm just standing. I didn't care. Yeah. I'm just standing like this. All of a sudden, he pulls up with like a parade, lights flashing, and he gets out. Let's walk, And I've never seen anything in all the major cities. They couldn't stop it with anything. All the military might they had, nothing.
That's right.
He gets out, no weapons. He had no weapons. Yeah. I had no weapons. His guys had no weapons. We were packing, no Kevlar vests, nothing. And they started walking with us, and we walked. How long did we walk?
Man, all night. Honestly, from we started at, when it was sunny out, and you're talking May, so it gets, dark out.
Nothing happened. As a matter of fact, we were on the bridge. What bridge were we on? And we got down, and you wanted us
right there, 69 and 475 and 75.
Yeah.
69 and Saginaw Street, right there where the cages come over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all these people were wrapped around us. They could have ate us alive. And he says, he asked people to speak. Yeah. And they did, including your people.
Right.
And then we all got down on our knees, and he prayed with us. And then I put my hand on his shoulder, and he goes, everyone put your hands on the shoulders. And we did. And a little girl that was scared, I talked to, I never told you this. No. She was at the beginning. She says, this little, a black girl, she goes to me, she goes, I'm really scared. I'm really afraid of cops, police, the police. Yeah. And this is right before he showed up. Well, she was the one sitting next to you with her hand on her shoulder. I wanted to tell you that. I never told you that. And I don't know. I get emotional fast. So, you got to bear with me. But she did. And I was like, really, I wanted to tell you. I was trying to take a picture of it, too, with her thing. But she went from a fear, because she was brought up that way.
Right.
They're conditioned that way.
You're supposed to be fearful of somebody that's like me.
And you changed the world that day. You changed the world that day. And I was this close. I was this close.
We changed the world because, as what Chris mentioned, that was one of 40 protests. We never had a single arrest. We never had a piece of glass broke, not a board damaged, not a store looted. Nobody got injured all summer long. But here's the crazy thing is and I want people to hear this, all you need to do is listen. It doesn't matter what circumstance you're going through. Those closest to the problem have the solution. The people of Flint and the thousands of people that were there were so angry. All they wanted was to be heard. And all I want to do is protect the community. And so if I listened and they want to be heard and I want to protect and we all win, that's a victory.
It worked.
And it was the best decision I made in my entire police career. And I told people, I said, the world got to see what I've been my whole life. And we were able to make a move that was able to cascade across the country, which led to Ignite. Because just when you do something, it's not a one and done. And people I'm an elected official, so the people vote me. I have a party affiliation. I'm a police officer. I'm a sheriff. So there's a lot of expectations that go with that. So you may be able to do a one and done, but they kept asking, what else are you going to do? Now, mind you, this moment, it reached 3.2 billion people in 24 hours because the media that picked it up in 157 interviews. And so part of my response was I had already thought about Ignite, inmate growth, national intention through education. I've got my master's from Michigan. And when I did my thesis in 98, I knew that because I was on a dope team, I knew that what really reduces crime and reduces addictions is education and value. When folks have education, they got a trade, they have a place to go, they have value, they feel good about themselves, they don't break the law, they don't get in domestics, they don't re-addict. And so I said, that's it. We're changing the way we do business in jail. We're going from incarceration to education, like Abraham Lincoln, a fist of iron and a hand of velvet. And so there's a time to protect, there's a time to serve, and we found that year is a time to unify. So we launched it September 8, 2020. Coach Harbaugh from Michigan was here, Chief Justice McCormick from the Supreme Court. And I said, we're going to school 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. When they do their stuff, they're going to be rewarded. And that was 3.5 years ago. We are now over 250,000 teaching hours. We have in January of 2024, our 25th commencement. We are now in 10 states. I fly out to launch in 33 counties in New Mexico. We have 22 states coming. It's the national standard for jails in America because of somebody who died and they didn't die in vain. His name is George Floyd.
Wow. Speaking of that, because the inmates, I know recently, we'll just touch on it for a quick second. Because I know that you had, and I was in Nashville, so we're dealing with all these people, but I noticed that you were with, people were telling me that, you and Jelly Roll actually worked together recently on something. So that seemed to, he really favored something that you were doing.
Listen, man, I always say good people find good people.
Yes.
And when you do good with no strings attached, you just do it from your heart and you're authentic and you're real. I'm telling you, folks, and you know this, you just know it when you see it. Yep. And I have no interest. Frederick Douglass, the most photographed individual in the 1800s, even more than Abe Lincoln. Frederick Douglass was a slave that was freed. He became an abolitionist. His statement that is one of my mantras is I have no desire to work with somebody who divides, but I will work with anybody who unites. And that is my May 30th plus mission is I'll work with anybody. I don't care who they are.
Yes.
And what happens in my world is when you do that, it attracts other people. Now, a lot of folks sit on the sidelines and they watch. And so when I was contacted by the radio station out of Detroit, Michigan about Jelly Roll, they're like, hey, we think he's a good fit for what you're doing up there. Now, I've never pitched Ignite to a radio station, Detroit, YCD, we love you, Odyssey, the biggest radio station, country music around the country.
Sure.
But we think if you send us a video, we'll get it to Jelly and see what he does. So I'm in my car, right where you parked. I'm like, what up, Jelly Roll? This is Swanson. We're doing some great things up here, blah, 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 blah. If you want to come up here, man, we'll go, riding dirty and we'll just have a great time, And I just kicked it off. And, man, he bit. And he said, man, I'm coming up there. Let me work some things out. And then a few months later, CMAs are coming out. He's nominated for New Country Artist at 38 years old.
I saw that.
And they said, cut us another video. So I went up to the floors and I said, all right, fellas, if you want Jelly Roll to come here, then get us a video. And we were graduating a barber school, a GED, a diploma. And Jelly got his GED when he was 23 in jail. So in 2007, he got his GED. So he understands it, right? So we cut this legit video, man. And he got, he was walking into what we call Radio Row in Nashville.
Yeah.
And Music Row. Yeah. Right. They showed it to him. They watched the video and he turned to JC, his one of his managers. He's like, we're going to Flint December 5th. And dude, this guy is everything you think he is.
Really?
He is a gentleman's man. He is the epitome of every bad decision that we make, which makes him so relatable. And he talked to the fellas. It was the largest jail concert in Michigan history. I had over 200 inmates there. And 60% of them are there for 20-year life offenses. Wow. We're talking murder.
Wow.
And we didn't have a single problem, bro. And it was legit. And he's coming back.
That's amazing.
Jelly Roll. That's
amazing. Yeah.
Follow him, tag him, tell him you saw Gonzalez's show at Nashtalk and get it to him because he's the real deal.
Thank you, brother. That's cool. Yeah, because I'm actually dealing with people. In fact, we just had some people on there the other night that worked and wrote with Jelly Roll. So that's one thing about Nashville. You're going to find they write with everybody, old and new.
Okay.
And they become like a family.
Yeah.
It's not just like a business; it's a family, and that is one of the biggest chemical reactions. Is what you said. Good people find good people, and you can't just sit on the sidelines.
Right.
I'm just outlining what you've said. Right. And you can't like me. I could have just laid down and died after my boy. And I grabbed his thing and I stopped over and I said, and everyone was putting the fear of God in me. I have to come to see you. And I said to my son, and I said it
That's
to you,
right.
I go, I would die for you. And I mean that.
Yes,
I mean,
know.
if they're going to shoot you, they're going to shoot
That's
me.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's why he was firefighter of the year at Troy Fire Department.
Jeez. Well, I did okay, but
responded to more calls than anybody.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Well, that's my trainer, Keith, was just down there. He can back me up. But the thing is, I didn't do it for awards. You don't do it for that. You do it because there's a purpose to it. There's a value to it. There's a meaning behind everything you do. You don't just speak it. And I think sometimes people misinterpret what we say.
I'm telling you, my biggest critique that anybody says is he really like that? Is he really like that? And I'm telling you, it's Jamie, my girl, who I met in jail. I've known her for a minute. We've been married 29 years. She will tell you he is. This is exactly who I am. I don't need to change. When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. And I always tell people too, don't listen to what Swanson says. Just watch what I do.
I don't know if you can keep your eyeballs on that fast, because the first time we met, he pulls up in his black Corvette, and he said, "Hey," I'm like, and they go, they all thought I was crazy. And when they saw him, he goes, what's with the name Chris?
I know it. I know it.
I go, well, in Hollywood, most of the superheroes are named Chris.
That's beautiful.
Think about that.
And listen, any Chris that was born in October is even more fun.
Oh, well, I'm November, so maybe
there you go.
Well, I'm close.
There you're close.
I'm a Scorpio.
A fall baby. The reason I say that is Chris are fun names. I'm not kidding you too, but just the people I meet, Chris's that are they're my kind of folks.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So I didn't want to leave anything unattended that we were talking about, because I know you're on a tight schedule. You said you give me about 6 or 7.
Anybody want to ask a question?
Yeah, ask any questions out there if you guys have anything.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Vinny. Appreciate that, Linda.
I wish I would have promoted this a lot sooner than I did, but I wasn't certain, because I know why I didn't. And here's the number one reason: because in case something was to go down, because he's got his hands in so many things. If there was a major something, I know that that you would have to cancel me.
Well, I try not to. I'm very good at my appointments to make sure, because you invested to come here, and Captain Kenner, who's the media team director. I mean, you're in our studio,
right? And
you're very important to get this message out. Going back to what Frederick Douglass said, I'll work with anybody who decides to unify, and that's what your message does.
Sure. Well, you're one of the reasons. When I decided to go to Nashville, I was sitting there for a year going, and I went out a couple times. And you always say you got to go. You can't. You got to go for it. You know. And I thought, you know what? I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
And I picked up that, and there's so many things now. People are reaching out to me, even for this, and I thought, God, this is a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Because music is written by the stories you've told, about the stories you've told, and I think there's going to be more songs that are going to be written about what you guys do, and it's going to change the dynamic. Music didn't do it like TV shows did. There's a lot of cop shows, Starsky and Hutch, and Police Story, and the list goes on and on. But I think there needs to be more music about that, because there was this change, a shift, if you will, that makes the perception of police not like, because I remember working with police and being on a firefighter. Man, a firefighter, they love firefighters. Oh, hey, thank you for what you do. But then when it comes to being a cop, some people were on the and that's why you said let's walk. Mm-hmm. That was your mantra, let's walk. And I think that if more people took even a portion of what you're doing in all these major cities around the country, I think we'd see an escalation of positivity and a de-escalation of all the things that you described.
Well, I'm going to tell you that is part of the reason why I do these events. That's why I do these platforms, because the Let's Walk movement, you can even hashtag Let's Walk, and you'll see there's tens of thousands of hashtags, but it really is to get people moving in the right direction. And that doesn't mean you're going to agree with everything. That just means that when you disagree, don't be a jerk about it.
Right.
And people can understand that, but it's going to take people, and everybody out watching or listening right now, in leadership or influence positions, to take the first step and say, hey, let's set the example.
Sure.
And that's why I love what I do. And, I just cut a video on my social media the other day called Create Moments in Other People's Lives. And when you create a moment in someone's life, they are very thankful for that. Like today, I created a moment for you by carving out time and telling them everything. Stop, leave my phone in my office. There's nothing more important than Nashtalk right now. That's a moment. And you can create those moments at a speedway. You can create those moments with your family, but it's intentional. You have to take advantage of it.
Yes, sir.
I will not be the last sheriff that comes in Genesee County. But what I'm going to do while I'm here is create a moment for the people that I serve and to market that and to show people and tell the story. I mean, I use every platform possible. I reach 2.5 million people a month on social media and other media outlets, because if we do something, then tell your story. And that's why we do things, and that's why we have results, and that's why people they align with what we do.
And what, like it or not, they're going to have to emulate your process.
Well, we scale everything out. If it works, we scale it out. That's how we're able to roll.
Right.
Ghost nationwide, Ignite, Police Evolution.
It's working.
How we handle law enforcement. Yeah.
Great. Quick question.
Yeah.
Did either of your sons ever want to be in the police force? Good question.
No doubt. And that is going to be who asked that one? Okay.
Just a Facebook
okay.
user.
Neither one. My son Riley is 25. He's in dental school right now. He's tried for 3 years and he finally got in.
Oh, good.
He does a great job. He just finished his first semester, married to a beautiful girl, and they live out of state. And then my youngest is 23. He's legit. He's got his college degree, and he's a video marketer. He is an influencer. He's extremely creative, and they're both doing fabulous. But I am the last on both sides of my family to be in law enforcement. Nobody else. A ton of nurses. Maybe that was the medical influence, but nobody else in law enforcement, which is fine. It is what it is.
And I know you've done other things to succeed, monetarily, that, this wasn't but it's been a passion inside of you. It's in your DNA. So that's really cool. I guess, let me think, what would be your legacy moving forward? 5-year, 10-year, 20, or how would you, create a summation for what you see yourself doing now? I mean, you've already spoke on most of it. Yeah. And you got all these programs that most people have never even heard of doing with this amazing amount of success. But I think, how do you see yourself? Because you're very young. I mean, you're not like some, old codger like me, but, but I think that you seem to have a lot more years left in you doing this, right?
Absolutely. Well, doing this or doing more? The answer is doing more.
Okay.
And I have never had a restriction on what my capabilities are and what my desires are. There's a difference between being discontent and being or what I would call, desiring more for the good reasons of just achieving. I think achieving things and stacking up wins is what drives me. My love language is other people's joy, other people's safety and security. Yeah. But I'm far from over, bro.
Far from over. Yeah, I get you. I think we roll the same way with different things, And like I said, like me with my thing, I want to help musicians and people achieving their dreams while I'm doing mine.
Absolutely.
While I'm doing mine and creating a legacy. Like every time I touch something, when I was, like I said, when I came up here, I always sit and talk to Dante. I said, hey, you know what? If you're there, make it worth whatever. That's right. Just like when we did the walking. Yeah. I had no fear, zero fear.
I know.
None.
Isn't that crazy?
None. And you didn't either. In fact, I thought he was like having a surprise party. Right?
And I was careful not to dismiss their anger, but I also, it's de-escalating what people's mindsets are.
You did a great job.
I appreciate that.
That was great. I saw it from 100 feet away, and it got closer. And then he caught me in this massive crowd. It was chaos. It was everything going on, every emotion you could think of. And he saw me, and I took a picture while he points at me, and we fist bumped, and that was it. Next thing you know, we're standing. And
I got to tell you that the people of this community have not only just embraced that, but they have now, because of that moment, they've used that as a bright light. Flint is not now known as the place that's, a swamp, man. I mean, we are doing some great things. There's a lot that came from Flint, the automotive industry, the UAW. I mean, a lot of great things.
A lot of great things.
Yeah, and we're rehashing that. That's why I talk about police evolution. The way we do policing that's so effective. I mean, I'm a huge police agency.
Sure.
We solve problems. You just don't make arrests. Right. So if I arrest a dude that has gotten to a second domestic, we go find out why they get into fights in the first place. And if you find out, wait a second, they have no food, there's an addiction in the house, there's a problem that you can solve. If you solve that problem, you don't have to deal with the symptom of
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, police evolution.
Never heard of that. Yeah. That's different.
Of course.
That's amazing. God, I love the way you think.
Hey, listen, it's the opposite of defund the police, and that's political malpractice. But I know why people said that, because they were so frustrated with what was going on. Sure. They were so frustrated because we, as law enforcement, I can say this, we're our own worst enemies.
Sure.
We were doing things and we were stuck in this vortex of no change. But great law enforcement leaders will take and say, we're going to do things different. And you have to. Yeah. That's what's evolved into Ghost and Ignite and Police Evolution and all the things we do.
And I know him. You know, that's great. I mean, there's very few. I know thousands of people around the country and around the world, past, present, young and old. And I can honestly say you are in probably the top 5 of people that I've seen that are so uniquely qualified, and not just in one mono sense. It's kind of like this ubiquitous range of things that you are doing and can do. And he doesn't just talk, because I think people want people to talk and not achieve.
Oh yeah.
But you walk your talk.
Yeah, man. I have no interest in that.
And that's why I came here. I didn't come here to help you. I came here to be with you.
Man.
And that was it.
Yeah.
It's pure and simple. I didn't care about the odds and the obstacles, and that's what you were defeating. And I'm trying to take a little piece of that and put it here. And you know what? Chris Wasilewski said that. I know Chris. She's been a big fan of mine for a long time, but she's also a big fan of yours. I've seen her comment on your stuff. One last thing, because I know you got to go. I saw something, just this morning, and it was, I think from December 5th. You were in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you were giving away. I saw you handing money through a window, and then some lady was hugging you. Yeah. I saw it really quick. Mm-hmm. Just explain that really quick. What were you guys doing?
Giving away about $350,000 worth of goods and money and services. It's called the Christmas Spectacular. And the reason I started it 4 years ago was because of George Floyd, 2020. Wow. So we've done 20, 21, 22, 23. And I picked the second Saturday of December. Mm-hmm. And we have law enforcement going to neighborhoods with volunteers from other neighborhoods. Right. So you take folks from the white neighborhoods and you take them to the black neighborhoods, take these folks, take them to the other neighborhoods, and you mix up where people would never normally go. Right. And you allow dialogue. I call civil discourse. Sure. So we started out back in the day with just a sampling of family, 200 families. We pack boxes full of goods that we buy and we get donated. The boxes are about $200 worth of stuff. Mm-hmm. Some more, some less. And we go to the house and law enforcement's there and we knock on the door and say, hey, somebody recommended you. It's not always by, financial reasons. It could be just they suffered a loss. They're going through chemo. They've survived cancer. Just a blessing. The first year we did it, it was to create that unity moment. And what better way to do it than go to someone's front door, into their kitchen, and solve problems? Mm. So that 50 turned into 200. And this last year we did 250 boxes. And we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars donated because of the NBA through Kyle Kuzma, Home Depot, Walgreens. These are big organizations. And we didn't just do it in Flint. We did it in Washington, D.C. We did it in 2 counties in Ohio. But what we found is people think that they're forgotten. And in many cases, they are. And so you come in and you want to tell people on a Saturday, hey, you're important. And you give something. Sure. It's Old Testament law. When you go to someone's house, you bring a gift. You know why? Mm. Because the gift opens the door. If someone's going to be intentional on getting something and bringing it and picking it out and giving it to you, it only opens the door to the home, but opens the door to your heart. And so when somebody who is law enforcement is only called when their worst day is happening, when something's bad, but now they're coming to give you something and solve a problem, and what you don't need, we leave the box there. You go give it to someone else. So it continues to give on. That's called the Christmas Spectacular. And it was, you have Captain Kennemer's right behind the camera right now. And he will tell you that's his best day of the year. I got to show you something. I was, I write all these songs all the time, but I wanted you to see, let's see, where's it at here? I know you got to go, but oh man, really quick. It's all right. It's called Badge. I'm going to call it the Badge. Right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. See right there? My gosh! And this was inspired by you. Come on. Yeah, and I'm every morning when I see the sun, I know I can't be the only one. I see it raise the flag, full staff, thanking God's place we have, and all this freedom. Yeah, all this freedom because we don't need a badge. For them to prove just a badge of honor what they do for me, let me shake the hand of those who serve me, salute them like stars, stripes. Man, protect me. That is awesome. We got to send. Yeah. I'm in the. It's a work in progress. Yeah. But you know what? It started having so many different elements. I didn't want you to read the whole thing. We don't have much, but it was like there were so many things. Radio edit. Yeah, radio edit. We can go back into that. Well, you still get the credit for it, so you can't steal any of those. No. Well, yeah, I'm not even worried about that because you know what? I would. It's one of those songs I would donate. To you to do, to do something. Cause I thought, you know what, this is what you do. This is what they do. And there's a lot of great people in law enforcement and I've seen them and I've worked with them. And I want to make sure that at least a little bit that we can, at the very least of today, change, the minds of people that might not be a big fan of law enforcement. And when to see somebody like you, maybe there's somebody in law enforcement. Give us a chance. Yeah. Give you a chance. And there might be people that might.
You know, I mean, your sons didn't choose your path, but
Right.
you're proud of them. You love them.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I didn't know what my son, I knew what his
Yeah.
path was going to be, which had nothing
Yeah.
to do with me. They thought football was my
Yeah.
thing. I know that was his.
Yeah.
I followed him,
Yeah.
just like you're following them. But there might be somebody out there that might go, you know, I want to
Yeah.
follow, I want
That's
to be a
right.
Chris Swanson.
Wow,
I want to be a
that's a good- yeah.
Swanson. And I'm not talking the
Appreciate
food. I'm
it.
talking this guy right here,
Yeah,
the real
thank you,
deal.
man. That's humble.
And, you know, Chris and Chris, right? You know, they've got a Thor, they've got a this, they got everybody, right? But I guess I really don't have, I mean, we could talk
Yeah.
a lot longer, but I know you have to go because he's got to go protect and serve out there.
Yeah.
And he's in charge of this big city. So, you know, Sheriff, man.
Here's the takeaway, Chris. You hear these words, you watch this, you can do something yourself out there that's going to impact someone's lives. And it's just a simple act. Be intentional. It's always going to be inconvenient. It may cost you something, but do it anyways. It's those simple things. One decision that I never planned on turned this entire crowd from hate to hope. So nobody's going to tell me that it can't take a simple decision by a nobody to make a big difference in someone's life.
Wow. You want to look at the camera and say, wish them a happy holiday or anything else?
Let's walk, baby.
Let's walk. All right. Well, Mr. Sheriff.
Thanks,
I say
man.
Mr. Oh,
that's
my
all
goodness.
right.
Sheriff.
Swanson's fine.
Sheriff Swanson.
Yeah.
Swanson.
Thank you,
the real deal.
Appreciate
We're going to do a
appreciate
TV show on you. Could you imagine? Netflix or
Yeah, there you
Hulu?
go.
Oh,
Killing
man.
me.
You could play your own part.
That's right.
Like Stallone did. You know what I mean? All right. That's great. I
Thanks,
love it.
everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. And have a great weekend and or actually a week.
Yes.
I used to do this on the weekend sometimes.
Yes.
So have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. Be good. And like he said, you know, give when give as much as you can out there to people that might need, and it may come back to you or go to somebody else who really needs it.
That's right.
Great messages out
Thanks,
there.
brother.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
brother.
Bye-bye.